Figurative swords were being drawn. Zubekai saw Baziashun stepping out of his thatched hut, and all his previous rancor and hatred erupted inside of him. Baziashun! He roared. As soon as the words left Zubekai's mouth, he waved his hand, sending his wooden sword flying out. Looks of shock could be seen on the faces of Big Fatty Jong and the others. Just as they were about to leap to stop the wooden sword, the burly man from the supervisor's department laughed coldly and blocked their path. However, it was in that same instant that Baziashun, eyes bloodshot, roared, "Zubekai, you have pushed things too far. You and I are going to go all out." Baziashun's heart was pounding. He had never actually been in a fight in his entire life, much less magical combat against another cultivator. He was so nervous that he was shaking. Roaring to build his own courage, he unleashed the power of the third level of chi condensation, holding nothing back from his cultivation base. He poured all of his spiritual energy into his wooden sword, then waved his finger to send it flying towards Zubekai. As the wooden sword whistled through the air, the two designs hidden by the garish paint flickered slightly. Suddenly, the sword expanded in size and exploded with an oppressive coldness as it bore down on Zubekai. The speed and majesty with which it shot through the air caused Big Fatty Jong, as well as the group from the supervisor's department, to gasp and stare in astonishment. As the ferocious roar of the sword filled the area, all hearts were struck with shock, and suddenly, nobody was interested in fighting anymore, and instead stared at the sword. Zubekai hadn't even gotten close to Baziashun yet, and what was struck with terror by his energy. From what he could tell, this version of Baziashun was completely different than the person he had faced several months before. The way he gritted his teeth and looked like he was going all out caused Zubekai's heart to fill with shock. Next, his eyes widened with disbelief as he saw Baziashun's wooden sword speeding toward him. It was like a stream of white light, bursting with the type of energy that he had only seen during fights between outer sect disciples. He was so flabbergasted that his scalp went numb. A bang rang out as Baziashun's wooden sword slammed into Zubekai's. Zubekai's wooden sword trembled, completely incapable of standing up to the force of the blow. Starting from the tip, it shattered into pieces. In the blink of an eye, it was completely destroyed, transformed into countless shimmering fragments. As for